like racing through the hills of San Francisco at 110 miles per hour. Bullitt also had another advantage: smaller and more rugged cameras, which allowed shooting to happen in actual streets. Before this movie, most directors shot chase scenes on studio sets, since they were dealing with cameras that looked like this. To fill in the backdrop, filmmakers would use rear projection, where you project a moving image onto a screen behind the actor. Like in this chase scene from the first Bond movie, Dr. No, where Sean Connery's steering doesn't seem to match the movement of his convertible. Bullitt was one of the first big Hollywood movies to rely on the lighter Arriflex 35-2 camera, so the crew could shoot entirely on location, and also take audiences inside the cars. They mounted cameras on the hoods, sides, and interiors of each vehicle, so viewers could feel every bump and lurch. This dynamic camera style was most famously used in the chase from the movie The French Connection. The filmmakers mounted cameras on the hood, front bumper, and dashboard of Gene Hackman's Pontiac. These multiple angles, along with handheld camera work from the back seat of the car, showed all the action from the driver's perspective. The result makes that Bond chase look like a casual spin. But higher stakes car chases can also be more dangerous. The French Connection chase was filmed on uncleared streets in New York without permits, among other drivers and passers-by. These barely avoided collisions, they happened for real. And this crash was entirely unplanned. At the wheel of the white Ford was a civilian driver who was uninvolved in the shoot. All this happened even with actors sometimes driving slower than what you see on film, a standard trick used to reduce risk. See how some cars' exhaust pipes are blowing smoke faster than normal? That's because filmmakers on French Connection used a technique known as undercranking, where they filmed some of the scene at a lowered frame rate. Capturing fewer frames makes movement look faster, basically the opposite of slow motion. You can also see this in Vanishing Point, released the same year. Barry Newman's character bets he can drive his Dodge Challenger from Denver to San Francisco in 15 hours. That'd require a constant pace of some 80 miles an hour. But in many sequences like this hot race with a Jaguar, the actors were only driving at 50. So the filmmakers created the illusion of speed by undercranking the camera to half its normal frame rate, making the cars look like they're flying. Undercranking is still used today, most notably in the 2015 movie Mad Max Fury Road. But heavy undercranking works best for settings that don't have a lot of people moving around. Mad Max and Vanishing Point were perfect fits, with scenes that take place in the desert. In scenes that have lots of pedestrians, the effect can make human movement look jerky and fake, like what you see in old silent comedies. So city chase scenes can only use the technique sparingly. The Paris chase in the 1998 thriller Ronin, where Robert De Niro's Peugeot pursues a BMW, didn't use undercranking at all. To actually drive at these daredevil speeds, you pretty much always need a stunt driver. So the filmmakers have to find ways to make it look like the actor, not the stunt driver, is controlling the car. In Ronin, they had right-hand drive cars fitted with fake left-side steering wheels. The actor, in this case Robert De Niro, would pretend to drive for the close-ups, while the stunt driver to their right did all the actual maneuvering on a steering wheel positioned out of shot. But having the stunt performer in the other seat limits the angles you can shoot. And what if the stunt driver can't be in the vehicle at all? The solution came from a movie with exactly 0 car chases: Seabiscuit. The stunt team on that movie built a special rig for filming horse race scenes. Eventually, that rig evolved into a smaller, more versatile version designed specifically for filming car chases. Known as the Biscuit, it's basically a vehicle that you can put other vehicles on, one that can be reassembled into different configurations, like a giant Lego truck. The rig makes it look like an actor is doing the driving, while a stunt person actually steers from the driver's pod. This pod can be mounted anywhere on the platform, so filmmakers can basically get any angle they want. The Biscuit rig made it possible to film some of Hollywood's most famous car scenes over the past 2 decades, from this scene in The Hangover to the many chases in Baby Driver. Take this scene in the movie Drive, where a guy chasing Ryan Gosling's character hits the back of his Mustang to make it spin out. After shooting the whole thing with 2 stunt drivers to get all the exterior shots, they filmed it again with Ryan in the car and the car on the Biscuit rig to get the close-up and interior angles. A stunt driver drove the Biscuit while talking to Ryan through a radio to help him mimic all the movements on his
building. We were able to shoot that on stage and bring in 150 party members all dressed to the max in evening gowns and tuxedos.
You have no idea what level this party's about to go to.
Now let's figure out how to make this really interesting to the audience, because a car inside of a party usually it just goes in and goes out the other side.
No one's ever seen this before. Time to unleash the beast.
So we came up with, hey, he's gonna make a lap around this whole entire party sequence.
And you're going, well, where are they gonna go? What the hell are they gonna do? Are they gonna drive in an elevator and go down the elevator?
You've got a lot of people in evening gowns and tuxedos and they can't move really fast. And they're on a marble floor. They drop their drinks, now there's liquid on the floor.
Ready, and action!
Then I got word from James Wan, who said, hey, I want Jason Statham to come in here and start firing a machine gun at the car. And I want Jason to jump over the top of the car. I want the car to hit him. So when they come flying in here, Dom pitches the car sideways and hits Jason Statham's character, and he goes over the top of the car and to the ground and then gets back up and starts shooting. Jason goes over the top, we hit the piano, we hit the bar, we hit everything we could hit in there. And at the same time, he's being shot at by a machine gun and shot at by these grenade launchers, and so columns are blowing up around the car. So now we've got all these different avenues that really spice it up.
Dom, cars don't fly!
He turns and he just makes a beeline for the big glass window.
Oh, shit!
And goes blowing out this window, jumps through the air across to the next tower. To go out the windows was on a set piece that was out in a parking lot.
9 cameras going, we have 6 of them out here. We got 3 cameras inside.
We had 40 feet of trussing deck, and then the windows were built on that. And Dan put the car on one of his air mortars, and we would shoot it out of that window and into boxes.
Survive!
We would get the exit from one side and then get the entrance on another side. And we did it multiple times for different buildings that we're supposed to go into. We built a set to land in at the Atlanta Convention Center.
Right there for the hit.
That second building, James wanted fairly empty, like it wasn't finished yet. Open walls with the aluminum 4x4 beams in it, just a lot of wires hanging down.
Effects is squib these windows. They'll be going hot. They're going to blow the windows. These are breakaway aluminum frames. As the car comes through, all that's going to break and go with the car.
I built ramps that were 3 feet tall, 120 feet long, and I had Steve Kelso drive it as fast as he could drive it and drop off. He had about 5 or 6 feet between there and the window. So we could get him dropping as if he's dropping in, hitting, and then just slamming through everything that was in that second building.
Nice. All right.
When we were able to use those towers and we knew we could go farther, so we went from one building to the next to the next.
And then we did another landing with a redressed interior, which now was art gallery.
I say car, you guys snap around, and you will see the car jumping through, and then run right toward us. I've got real stunt people in there, all dressed up, very nicely like they're art gallery exhibitors and they're patrons, and they've got to move pretty fast. Well, they can't see the car. It's on a countdown, and so I say, we're going to say 3, 2, 1. Everybody has to be moving. You can't be thinking to move. You got to be moving because the car's coming in really fast. So that was the tough part.
3, 2, 1,
It lands, it goes out of control, and now Dan built a rig that spins as it goes across the floor.
Dan Sudik created this car that was on a complete rotating spindle, but would travel down the length of the set. So I could put my stunt doubles in there and film this car rotating as they're trying to bust the whole dash loose to get this circuit board out that contains the device that they want, and then they've got to dive out.
got it! Get out!
This Lycan, very, very low to the ground, hard to get in and out of, so doing an action sequence and sitting way down inside the car and having to dive out of it is a whole different ballgame.
We've got to get 2 stunt doubles out of a spinning car, and we want the car to jump out the window all in one shot. So we tested it. We took the doors off and said, let's see if you guys can jump out of the spinning car, and we found out that if you don't jump out as it's starting to spin, the back tail end hits you. You're rotating in there, you don't really know where you are. So the stunt guys had to look for some kind of pinpoint area out on the set, and they said, when I see this come around, I know I have to go out. We said, okay, and action. Spun the car, and they all dove out in the perfect second. We went